when you made mention of Malcolm, right?
Right.
Here is a question that I wanted to ask. I noticed when Malcolm, Farrakhan, Khalid, whenever they would want to make, and I don't know how you look at Khalid because I know Khalid, was with the nation, but then he left. So there's a time before he passed that he was a part of the new Black Panther Party, that he
Right.
wouldn't have been a part of the nation. So I don't know if you look at the stop when he left as a time that he's gone. But what I noticed is that they would all say that we are the children of Israel. Malcolm said it
Mhm.
with the Valley of Dry Bones. Farrakhan said we are the children of Israel. So my question is, if we are the children of Israel, why are we following the Arabs' religion instead of the religion or spiritual system of the Israelites?
What let's get into that. What do you say is the Arabs' religion? And if you're saying if it's Islam instead of following um, the religion of the Israelites, so you saying, and I don't want to get into the semantics because we both yesterday said that we don't follow no religion, right?
Yeah, we don't follow no religion. I would say spirituality,
Right. So
or
that's
if
what
you
I'm saying.
want
I
to
got to
say
be
culture, if you want to
right.
say culture,
Way of life,
way of
lifestyle,
life, yeah, way of life, yeah, right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying why would we follow Arab way of life, not culture, but Arab way of life instead of Israelite way of
Yeah,
life?
what I said before that is so Malcolm said we the Israelites, Khalid said we the Israelites, Farrakhan said we the Israelites when they speak.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that. He's the first
Okay,
one that said,
okay, no problem. So four
right.
prominent Muslims said we the children of Israel. The children of Israel said not to serve no other gods, and there's a way of life conducive to the children of Israel. So why
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't we follow the it? Why do we follow? Why do y'all teach us to follow the Arab way of life instead of the Israelites' way of life? If the most prominent members of the Nation of Islam said we are the Israelites, it's like y'all
Because
put us into a second class citizenship.
well, that's your interpretation. This is about God. This is about theology. This is about proving who and what God is. Everything else is secondary. Everything else falls into insignificance. So that's why I wanted to talk with you and to let the people see who you can prove or who you believe, who, what, where, when, how God is, right? Because everything else is about how we worship God. Are you saying that we don't we're supposed to worship no other God? Okay, let's identify who the God is, period, in the first place. You say he's not a man, you say he's a spirit, you say this or that.
I didn't
Let's
say he
stay
wasn't a
on
man.
let's stay on that subject. Let's stay on identifying, and this is where the crazy thing come in at, right? The definition of crazy. If we're gonna say what's crazy, that's crazy. So we're supposed to believe and put our life on the line and give our whole soul, mind, spirit, body, everything to somebody's uh, description or belief in a God that they cannot show no evidence for. They can give no specific identity of. That's crazy to me.
You didn't answer my question though. My question was, if they're telling us that we're the children of Israel, why
Mm-hmm.
are y'all bringing us into the culture of the Arabs instead of the culture of the Israelites?
The
The children.
original air, so the original Arabs, the original people of this whole planet are black. You're trying to start in um, Abraham's children. We in the nation don't start with Abraham's children. We don't even start with Abraham. We start with the God or the God people before there was ever such thing as Abraham or Noah or Adam. You understand? We don't believe that. We don't our interpretation of the Bible is not your interpretation of the Bible. So our interpretation of the Bible, like I said yesterday, is that we are the original God nation of this planet, and we said, let us make a new man in our image and after our likeness, and give them power and dominion to rule of this and that, and this. And that's talking about the white race. The original black people are the God, the originators. That was the plural, the us and the we and the our that the Bible is talking about. So we don't start our genealogy or our religion, our faith, or whatever with Abraham that came 2 or 3,000 years later, or Ishmael that came even later than that. our nature, our way of life is Islam before Abraham, before Noah, before Adam, before everybody.
Okay, but you're still not answering my question
I
because
thought I answered it.
so are we not the children of if we go before the children of Israel, then we not the children of
The
Israel.
children of Israel is for in a period of time. So if we the children of Israel, that means we fulfill the prophecy of 400 year slaves, right? That's how we identify ourselves today, right? That's how we can even find out if who we are because we fulfill that part. Anything else, you wasn't alive, I wasn't alive.
No,
But the part that we can prove that we fulfill is that we just came out of 400 years of slaves in a strange land that's not ours, under a strange people that afflicted us for 400 years. That's the part we can prove, right?
no, but that's still not answering my question because if
Well, I don't
we're
know how to
not
answer it, brother.
meaning this, if we're not the Israelites, then whatever them 400 years don't apply to us. If we're not the Israelites today, you can't
Mm-hmm.
be a people for a time. Chinese people are Chinese people forever. Arabs are Arabs forever.
Mm-hmm.
Nigerians are Nigerians forever. So Israelites are Israelites forever. Their
What
race didn't.
Israel is Jacob. What was before Jacob?
His father Isaac.
Okay, why we ain't Isaacites?
Thank you.
Who was
Good
before?
question.
Who was before Isaac?
Abraham.
Who? Why we ain't Abrahamites? Who was before Abraham?
Uh, no, Nahor. Or
You know what I'm saying?
Terah.
So
I'm
we
sorry.
gonna go all the way to Adam, right? But then I just told you we're the ones made Adam. Why would I name my religion after my children?
Here's why. So the Quran even references the children of Israel as being Allah's favorite. I mean, I don't see how that works. Me
Because
personally,
so this is let me if you don't mind, that's I wanted to touch on that. What makes us special is because of our suffering, is because of the 400 years that we went through, and what you mentioned the other or yesterday about mulatto-ness and that's why I asked you, was you like, you light skin, you don't have no white people in your family. The the vengeance and the justice that the God has in store for the people that did that. They did that to our mothers. They did that to our women and girls. They RAPE'd and all of that and produced a whole new kind of people. I heard you say something like Farrakhan's father is not black, he's Jewish or white or something like that.
that's what he
How
said.
else, if that's the case, how else could he be a pure example of what happened to our women and the products of these
His
these
mother wasn't
hold
raped. His
on, hold
mother
on, hold
cheated.
on, hold on. This is serious. This is the reason God is said to destroy this whole world is because of what they did to our women, what they did to our little women and girls, and produced this new type of offspring made of black and white. That they was victims. The women was victims, and the children is victims. They didn't claim them children. Thomas Jefferson had all these, these founding fathers had all these little slaves, was running through them and producing us. That's why your skin is like, that's why my skin is like. We all have the devil in our blood for that reason, because of that. And God came to give vengeance on those people and to raise a person made out of that same material to do us justice.
Light skin doesn't mean you have white in you. And Farrakhan's scenario was not due to any essaying. As he said, his mother stepped out, and that's why he was treated different growing up. His mother
We
stepped
saying
out.
we saying material.
You said what?
I said the specific material. If the
But
Bible says, you know, he came in sinful flesh to condemn sin in the flesh.
that was two Israelite people that made Christ. Joseph being the physical father, Mary being the physical mother that physically made Christ. That has nothing to
Mhm.
do with what we
So
talking about.
which one of they flesh was sinful?
When it says sinful flesh, it's not even literal.
Oh,
Flesh
that's
is
not literal.
no flesh. Listen, the scriptures say the law is spiritual, but I am carnal. When it talks about flesh, it's talk about what you desire to do. What you
And
desire
that's
to
your interpretation, right?
That's not my interpretation. That's what it is. The only way we know how to live according to the Bible is if we obey God. Now that's
Mhm.
spiritual. Because if we
And who
live
is
how
God?
we God is Yahawah. He sits on his throne in the heavens. He gives orders. He have the angels come down here. He said of Christ as king, told the children of Israel, you are his chosen. We just choose to follow every other religion. But back to my original premise, if we are the children of Israel, and your leaders, your top four prominent ones, and I'm not taking away from any other brother or sister that was prominent in the nation, those just the four that I mentioned. They all
Mhm.
said, we are the children of Israel. And if we are, not were, if we
Mhm.
are the children of Israel, there's a
Right.
lifestyle, culture, and way of life that they're supposed to live. There's a God that they're supposed to serve. But y'all sent us to another God through a white man,
Who
Allah.
is the
His
white
name
man? Who is the white
Muhammad.
man?
Muhammad. The messenger is Muhammad.
We sent us to another God. What God did he
Through
send us to?
yeah, Allah is a different God than the God of Israel.
According to who?
According, if we start with the names, the name
We're
of
not
the
talking
Arab,
about the names. You talking
I'm
to
gonna
me
bust
now.
it.
You talking to an NOI Muslim, right? So if I
Right.
spent the last 2 days telling you who Allah is, you
But
gonna keep
Allah
referring back to
to
Arabs?
okay, so my fault for referring back to Arabs. So even if I go with what you're saying Allah is, Allah by name in the Bible, his name is Yahawah. So now we got two different names. The
Oh,
God
come
of
on, brother.
I'm
Come on, man.
I'm not done there. I just want to show you. Now you look at it as simple. But Psalms, the 83rd chapter, and the last verse says, but thou whose name alone is Yahawah, art the most high over all the earth. So if you love that God, you don't change his name. You keep his
That's
name.
changing his name.
Yeah, when you call him Allah, you just changed
Oh,
his name.
okay.
That's
I
changing his
thought we
name.
was. I hear you. I thought we was above that, but I guess
Well,
I don't.
here's
I
what's
don't wrangle over names. I don't wrangle over names.
here's what's more important. Isaiah 1 and 3 says the ox knoweth his owner, the ass his master's crib. If we don't know who owns us, how can we ever submit to the owner? So if the whole
Correct.
time we submitting to this
Correct.
name of Allah and that's not his
No,
name,
no, sir. No, sir. We're not submitting to no name. I told you I identified who the
no
Allah
problem.
is.
If we're submitting to a God called Allah, but the real
And
God of
and
the
who is the God? Who is the God that I told you
you're
for the
saying
last two
it's
days?
us. You're saying it's
And
us.
I asked you yesterday, is your God a black man? And you said what?
I said he's not a man like you and I because he's greater. I said he sits on a
He's
throne, he has woolly hair, but he's greater than us. He's never
and you
been on
didn't
this planet.
concede that you probably believe that's a black man. You didn't concede to that.
I would say I would call him a black man. If I was arguing with somebody, I'd say we got a God, our
Right.
God is black. I would say that, but I wouldn't
So,
put
so
that.
the Allah that we believe in is a black man. The God that you say arguably is a black man. So we talking about two different people, though, right?
You and
We talking
I,
about two different guys now, right?
your name is Cam, my name is Tazaryach. That's two different people. And that's what I'm saying. Allah and Yahawah is.
Oh, okay.
When you go further down to it, Yahawah said we have a Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, Day of Atonement, Feast of Tabernacles, Feast of Hanukkah. That's what Allah said. And then you have, excuse me, that's what Yahweh said. Then you have Allah, y'all have Ramadan. Y'all pray facing Mecca. We pray facing Jerusalem. Though culture and way of life are different. So they're
Mhm.
not the same. Y'all circle that rock or that, excuse me, y'all circle that Kaaba 7 times. Our
Mhm.
God said, don't work, you can't make an image to him.
What? How is that an image to him?
Why are
And
you
how we
circling
worship?
it?
I heard what you was about to say. You was about to say we worship that, and you said we make an
Yeah,
image
I'm
to him.
definitely gonna say you worship it because you circling it.
That's
And
worshiping it.
yes,
What do you
yes.
do when you do a feast or a Sabbath or whatever? What are you doing? Are you worshiping the Sabbath?
When we do a Sabbath, we
Yeah.
get
Are
up
you are
there
you
and
worshiping the Sabbath?
we are worshiping the Most High because we send prayers. We say Abanawa, Shabbat
Okay,
Shemayim,
the
Quadas,
prayers and all
Ayah.
of that's still rituals. That's still you're doing something. You're doing some
I'm
rituals, but you're not. Hold on, you're not worshiping the ritual, right? You're worship that the ritual is a form of demonstration of the worship of a god, right?
they definitely both
So
rituals.
are we worshiping the Kaaba and the black stone in Mecca?
Yes, because we're definitely worshiping. that ritual when we go pray. We
Okay,
worship.
let me give you.
Let me give you my
I ain't
point.
talking. I ain't talking. My
Okay,
bad.
and I'm gonna give you my point. My point is that Allah and Yahawah are worshipped differently, so they cannot be the same deity because they're worshipped differently. The records in the book for the children of Israel, with your elders and your leaders said we are said to worship it this way and don't worship no other God. Once you pray facing Mecca, you have worshiped a different God to the God of Israel. Once you circle that rock, you have worshiped a different God to the God of Israel. So I'm telling you that they're not the same. So if Farrakhan, Malcolm, Elijah Muhammad said, "We are the children of Israel." Every time y'all have us pray opposite the way God told us to pray, you're bringing us to another God. And then that continues the disobedience that we have on this planet.
Right. So here's the etymology dictionary, the English etymology dictionary for the word worship. Worship, right? Condition of being worthy, dignity, glory, distinction, honor, renown, reverence paid to a supernatural or divine being. So, do we look at, according to your accusation, do we look at the Kaaba or the Black Stone or whatever you're saying? Do we look at that as a supernatural or a divine being? Yes or no?
Yeah.
You
Depending
do.
on who I speak to, they
You're
say it
speaking to
was
me. You're speaking to me.
well then you would have to so I don't want to say nothing and you say because I've heard some Muslims say that it's something Abraham resurrected. I heard some Muslims say it's a meteorite that fell. I hear
We talking to me. That, like I said, please don't put me in the same category with
I
some other
don't. That's
type
why
of
I would have
Muslim.
you tell me what it is, and then I'll tell you if, based on what you tell me, if that's worship to me.
Right. I told you yesterday, just like you said with the Sabbath or any feast or anything that you do, that is a demonstration of how you're supposed to worship God or whatever. You're not worshiping the fish or the feast or the Sabbath or the such, and you're worshiping God, right? So I don't accuse you of worshiping the Sabbath or worshiping the feast or worshiping the altar or worshiping whatever the things that you have to set up and put in place. You
Mhm.
have an altar, you have smoke and incense and whatever,
Right,
or lamb or whatever. I don't
right.
accuse you of worshiping those things, right? Why would you
No, you
accuse
have.
us of worshiping those things?
Here's why it sounds like I'm accused. Excuse me. Why I'm actually saying it because I actually am. And maybe
Mhm.
if that's offensive to you and you don't like the
No, it's,
language,
it's not offensive. It's just we
well,
just proving our case.
no. But because I have a respect for you, I don't want to be too offensive. But I am going to explain to you why. In the
Yes, sir.
Bible, in Habakkuk, the second chapter, it talks about the dumb stone. I'm not talking about the Kaaba now. I'm just talking about what the book of Habakkuk says.
Right.
And it says, and it warns us about worshiping the dumb stone. That's what it
Mm-hmm.
calls it. Deuteronomy
Mm-hmm.
28 and 64 says that we would worship gods that neither thou nor thy father have known, even of wood and stone. So for us
Mm-hmm.
as Israelites, that primary wood is the Christian cross. That primary stone is the
Mm-hmm.
rock that they circle in Mecca. So for
Right.
us as Israelites, if you told me about Santa Claus, I would say you worshiping the idol. If you told me Mother's Day, I would say you worshiping the idol. If you told
Right.
me anything outside of what God told us to worship, and when
Right.
I'm saying about worship as a blanket statement, it's not as minuscule as saying we're not worshiping the rock, but you're doing that practice because Muhammad said to do it. You're praying facing Mecca because Muhammad said to do it. Just like we're going to the Sabbath service because Moses said to do it. We're
Right.
going to the Passover because Moses said to do it. So our worship is set up by the messenger that God sent. So
Right.
if God sent Muhammad, excuse me, if Allah sent Muhammad for y'all to do that, and it's totally opposite than what the God said to the children of Israel, you can't tell me that they're the same God.
Okay.
Or
I mean,
you would have to show,
I'm not.
or
I'm not trying to. Yeah, I'm not trying to convince you. Whatever your belief is your belief. I just want the people to say that. I mean, to see what we're talking about.
Right.
So in the Bible says that I think Jesus is on this rock I build my church, right? You said we worship stones or whatever, but the Bible calls Jesus a rock, or Peter or somebody, or
He
and,
called
and
Peter
we're
the
the,
rock.
and we're the stone that the builders rejected
The
is going to be
stone
the
that the builders were.
headstone in the corner. Are they guilty of worshiping rocks?
No, because
What's the difference?
what the Pharisees was building on was sand.
No. We're not talking about that. We're talking about God using the word rock and stone for His righteous nation, His righteous person that's going to be the foundation of His nation. So if it's the stone that the builders rejected became the headstone of the corner, right? But then you say we're worshiping, like we're acknowledging that scripture, you know what I'm saying? But you call it us worshiping that stone. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, definitely. And so when I'm gonna read the scripture, this is Matthew 7:26. It says, "Everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them shall be likened." And excuse me, everyone that heareth these sayings and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house upon sand. So our house is not built on sand, because when you build, it's going to answer your question.
No. We cite the verses that I said. You said something that I didn't even say.
Oh, you talk about. Wait, let me get that first. It says when Christ said, "Upon this rock." Hold on, let me grab that for you.
Right.
Upon rock, I'll get it for you in 1 second. So this is in Matthew 16:18. "And I say also unto thee, thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and
So
the
is he
gates of
calling Peter a rock?
it's a that's why I had went straight to Matthew, and but you said,
No,
excuse
I'm
me,
saying, but
Matthew.
is he
No,
calling
Peter is not a physical rock. No.
right? And Jesus was not a literal rock, right?
No.
Because
No.
Jesus said, I'm like a stone, or if you fall on me, you'll be broken to pieces. If I fall on you, you'll be ground into powder. But they still comparing themselves with stones and rocks, right?
Yeah, because speaking in metaphors is not worship. We didn't build Peter didn't.
So rituals is not metaphors.
Yes, no, it's not. No, because when Peter read
What
the
is the Sabbath?
when
What is the Sabbath?
Sabbath is when you go and have a congregation of people say prayers to the Lord, read the Torah, go over the law.
What is
There is
sacrificing on
no
altars? What is sacrificing on altars? That's not a ritual.
It absolutely is a ritual, but it's a ritual to our God. See, my argument
So
is
so
not
going
that.
around the Kaaba is not a ritual to our God.
Yes, that's my. See, you think I'm arguing like what? I don't think you. I think you might be missing what I'm saying. What I'm telling you is that they're two different gods. They're not the same. That's all I'm
Okay.
arguing. I'm not
Oh,
going to
okay.
argue that they're rituals. I'm not going to argue that they're worse. The only thing that
Well, you
makes
said
it
we was worshiping that.
y'all are worshiping. If you ask me if I worship the Most High, like if you circle a physical rock,
Right.
bow
But
down to it,
if you put animals on the altar and say prayers, you
you're not
worshiping God.
worshiping. No, because you're sacrificing that animal to the God.
And the
Y'all,
God is going to eat the animal. Like does the animal go to God, or what are you
no, you
doing? What is
burning
that for?
you burning the animal. The
Why do you
animal is
have to burn an animal to worship God?
You're not burning the animal to worship God. The
What you
animal is
doing it
this.
for?
I'm about to tell you. The animal, the animal is your sacrifice to that God,
Why you don't just burn yourself and sacrifice yourself?
because He didn't say to burn yourself. It's just that
So that's
simple.
not a ritual. Oh, that's not a ritual. That's not crazy.
No, it's not
That's not
crazy.
crazy.
It is a ritual, and no, it's not crazy. But
That's
it
not
is,
worshiping rituals.
yes,
That's worshiping rituals, right?
yes.
So
And
y'all
my
are
point,
worshiping rituals.
no, we worship the Most High. That's what we worship. And
You
y'all
you doing
worship Allah. And all I'm simply saying is Allah is not the God that's in the Bible.
okay.
You would have to show me where Allah fits into the Bible to say that they're the same. Because if Malcolm, Elijah, and
Mhm.
Farrakhan say we the children of Israel, Your teachings have us reject the God of the children of Israel, as opposed to
That's
accept the
false.
God.
No, that's false because
Well, then,
we identified literally us as the children of Israel, that it didn't happen 4,000 years ago. And we identified the Moses, the Aaron, and the Jehovah and the God that met that met Moses face to face.
that's
Master
just
Fard Muhammad is the God that met Moses, the modern day Moses, face to face and
say that part
revealed
again.
what he
You said
revealed. Hold on, hold on,
no, I
hold
didn't
on.
hear you. I said say that part again. I didn't hear you.
Oh, the Nation of Islam can identify and has clearly identified all of the characters of the children of Israel's story, the Bible prophecy. The Hebrew Israelite brothers only identify themselves. They only identify themselves as the children of Israel. They don't identify who Moses is, who Jehovah God is, who Aaron is, and how that is fulfilled. If we're fulfilling the actual literal 400 years that we just came out of slavery, then there's supposed to be a Moses and an Aaron and Jehovah that fulfills that part.
But that's not true
So
though.
that's not true.
No, we went over this yesterday. That 400 years was talking about Exodus. It was not talking about this time. Deuteronomy 28 and
It
68
was talking about
says,
Exodus.
yes, I read it for you. Exodus 12 and 48, when it says, I sojourned in there was 430 years. I read that. And then
Uh,
Deuteronomy 28, which comes after Exodus, said, in this captivity, no man will redeem us because Christ or the Most High is going to redeem us. That's what we talked about yesterday. But when you say the things that identifying is not how you accept being the children of Israel or the God of the children of Israel, doing what he says. Like when Ezekiel, excuse me, when Malcolm X did that Ezekiel speech on the Valley of Dry Bones. You're familiar with that speech, right?
if you give me some details, I'll probably
So
remember it.
so there's a video. If you just look up Malcolm X Dry Bones, in the video he uses Ezekiel the 37th chapter when he talks about you are those dry bones. You are the ones that's gonna come back to life. And he's as Ezekiel the 37th chapter is his reference. Well, when you read Ezekiel the 37th chapter, it says he breathed into them the breath of life. The breath of life is the laws of God. So if Malcolm is saying we the children of Israel in the valley of the dry bones, then the breath of life can only be what Moses said, what Christ said, what Ezekiel said. It cannot be what Allah said because the God of the Bible did not send Muhammad.
Hmm.